Hey, what's up, guys? Here we are back. We've got football back, be it ever so humble, some preseason football, but I feel like it's that time. We want to talk about some plays from this past Bengals game. And so what better play to talk about? Plays. Well, we're talking about 10 plays. The thing that's been on a lot of people's minds and on my mind for sure, among other questions, is how does Jordan Love look? We've seen him a little bit here and there. We saw him, in the Eagles game, 9 dropbacks, but we got to see kind of his progression a little bit, how he looked, how he's gotten better. We get to see a little bit more of it this time. He's getting a start. It's only preseason, but they had some starters out there. I think the Bengals were playing some of their starters as well, and just kind of get him involved. As we know from this, it's not necessarily like vanilla, but they don't have their full complement of passing concepts out there. They're going out there, throw some stuff that works. We're going to look at all of them, but with Love alone, it was 3 of the play action bootleg concepts in 10 total dropbacks. So it's pretty. That was more than you tend to see in a game. I guess I'll put it that way. So they stayed pretty simple, but we're going to see how he looked when he kind of operated. So we're going to start the first play here. It's going to be like just a quick little. I'm trying to get back into it here, so we will see how this goes. It's going to be completion to Aaron Jones, right around over there. Aaron Jones is starting to play in the backfield. We're going to watch the play, and then we will break it down a little bit. So, craft in motion. There he goes. I think this was Aaron Jones, if I'm not mistaken, his only snap of the night. He came out, got a single snap, and said, "I'm done. We're good." This concept is just dragon. Slant flat, whatever you want to call it, is the main concept there. So you get a little slant. This is probably too deep here. Get a little flat route, and then we'll just see. He's looking pre-snap. You got a single high safety. You got these linebackers pinched here, which means, and we're going to see he does end up being covered by the end there, which is going to be good for him. We'll see. They're kind of Kraft goes back and forth. You get that motion. You can see right here those linebackers shift a little. They're not following. Not that that's necessarily a tell at this point. I don't need to get into that at the moment, but it doesn't look like man coverage necessarily. See, they do that bump. They kind of shift over. All right, bump. But you've got, again, if what we're looking at, try not to take this on with every single one, slant, flat. If that's what you're looking at from a defensive perspective, if this is man, he's lined on the inside of Jones there. So if either he's picking him up and you've got D end on Aaron Jones, I've got a linebacker there. So Love knows this pre-snap. He is going to drop back. He kind of gathers all of his information. All right, he's kind of gathering wide. He's stepping back a little bit. I got Jones over here on a defensive end. I'm not going to overthink this. Reach the top of my drop. Toss that sucker. We'll get out of here. So that was his first one. Nice, easy completion to open up. And like I said, I think Aaron Jones, he was in pads because he was down celebrating a touchdown. But I think that was his only official offensive snap of the night. So that was the first snap of the game. This is going to be play action bootleg. This is going to be fun because, it's going to be complete. I think this one's going to go to the flat. Yeah. One of the things I want to point out here is Jaden Reed lining in line on this. They're going to fake the run this way, and then I'll set it up and then we'll watch it. Sorry, I'm trying to get better at this. Jaden Reed's going to be running what's called a slam route. This is not going to be the main action we're going to be looking at here. This was interesting. This is something I was looking at during the game where you kind of block down and then you release and you kind of sift through the nonsense. It does not end up going to him, but what will normally happen with play action bootleg from defensively, they're following the run this way. So I guess they're going down, blah, blah. They're playing the run. And then you get these guys booting back the other way. And so sometimes you get this bit of overcorrection. These guys got to cut back. These guys, are now trying to rush the passer after stepping back a little bit. And so you get this kind of yo-yo action where you're this way, you're going back that way. This is all terrible. And while they're trying to overcorrect, while they're trying to get back in position, this route here, which they don't run every single time on this concept, will kind of sift back through and go, okay, you got this side widening. These guys aren't quite back there. I'm just going to find some room. A lot of times, since you are blocking down on that side, a lot of times that is something you see from a tight end. So Jaden Reed, who, a bulkier dude, sorry for doing that. He's not a big guy. He's a shorter guy. And so seeing him do this in the preseason was fun. I think they're going to find a lot of different ways to use Jaden Reed this season. And I think this was a fun little kind of wrinkle into maybe what he could do playing some of the inline. You do see guys like Alan Lazard. They do put wide receivers down there. It's a little surprising to me to see Jaden Reed in this specific position. All right, here we go. Moving on to the concept itself. Can it? He's canning it. He's saying, all right, we're going to the pass. Fake. Go over. All right. take the flat. Now, what this concept is doing, again, this is a core concept in the Packer system. You fake, quarterback goes like that, fake the wide zone, you get everyone flowing one direction, bootleg out the other way, you'll get this big sail route here, this deep crosser coming from this way, and he's going to cross under to the flat. And like I said, Jaden Reed is going to kind of be that little slam sifter out there. So usually the way this will go, the read is one. Why I'm doing that? 1, 2, 3, and then 4 if you want to say 4. But it's a flood concept, it's a sail concept. You're flooding that side of the field. This one is rarely open. You rarely see this thrown. That's usually covered up. Usually trying to hit the 2. This is covered up here in this instance, but you are trying to hit the 2. Excuse me. So then you go to the 3s. If this is covered up and they faded back with this, and the 2 is covered up, that means the linebackers are taking this, which means you either have an inside linebacker, a guy kind of trying to go under the formation with this guy here, or you've got a D end or something like that. So you're trying to hit the 2. Usually we'll hit the 2. If it's not there, hit the 3. If the 3 is not there, you throw back to the 4 inside, maybe into some space. Now here, like it looks like the 4 would have been there was a lot of space there, but that's only if a 3 is not open. So you can see right there, all of this, he's going up. You've got safety there. Got Watson across. He's in trailed. You've got both of these linebackers running with him. So all of these are out. That's 1 out. That's 2 out. You've got, I think that's Musgrave here on the outside. He's just going to put it right to the outside. Again, if you can imagine a world that if this goes back to Reed in the middle, behind these guys' backs, maybe you get a seal there, and then you're off to the races a little bit. So that would have been fun to not go there. I think, so far, we're supposed to be looking at Jordan Love throws, so we'll talk about this in terms of Love throws. This was good. Good decision-making on both of these. Good on the Dragon, as we kind of noticed. He's reading. He knows what the defense has. He knows what he's trying to get. Good read there. Good read here. So let us get to the big shot to Christian Watson. This is going to be incomplete to Christian Watson. We'll let it run. Then we'll go back. A little bit of motion. Single high safety. Shotgun. Drop back. Check. Throw. Really good play by Dax Hill. Now, you can nitpick this a little and say, throw him a little better, but I'll put a little bit this on Christian Watson as well. So what they're doing, they got a little digs concept on the right side that we're looking at. So you've got this kind of follow concept, got this lead from the inside out of this stack look. And he's going to go here, kind of a shallower dagger type, kind of a little follow concept. You've got this guy in the middle. So you got single high safety, and you got Watson on the outside who's going to try to win to the outside and get going. We'll talk about Watson here in a second. But he checks over here first. And he's kind of looking the drops in the middle of the field, kind of see what he's got. Now, there's a couple things here. We'll go through the concept side first, which is the little follow thing. They're bringing this linebacker on a blitz who Love likely sees because he is looking in that direction. So they've got him on a blitz, and they're also bringing, looks like this kind of looping blitz behind it as well. So bringing 2 guys through there, which vacates the middle. So you could say potentially, if you want to, if you're reading this out, if you're looking at this, okay, I'm going there. I know that one linebacker is blitzing me. You can see this other guy's coming. He's widening out with the flat. The middle's open. Middle is open on that if you want to read that concept. Typically, you do read that inside out. And so if you're reading that concept, you read the first guy. If the first guy is not open, then you do that. You throw the follow, because if this vacates there, you got this guy coming to the follow. That's how it's designed. That's how it's designed to look. So you could say, okay, maybe you go to the digs. However, I don't have an issue with the decision here necessarily, because one of the other things you're doing is he's looking down the field. It could be he's saying, all right, I don't know, either the floor or Love or whoever is saying, listen, we're looking at this pre-snap. This could have been the floor saying, if it's single high, I don't care what else is out there, just throw that. And it could be Love saying, listen, I've got one-on-one on the outside. Because if you're looking at the coverage here, you've got Watson there. Everyone else is up. You got the safety back here. So if you're looking back, you could see like, okay, after the post snap, if this guy drops back and you get this kind of too high look, something like that, you're not going to throw to Watson because that's capped. And so at this point, the read could be, all right, 2nd and 7, I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to look down. I'm going to confirm single high. If this is single high, I'm taking a shot to Watson on one-on-one. Honestly, that's not the worst idea in the world, and I don't really have an issue with it. I said that. And the other thing, I guess, the last thing I'll say on the concept here, since you are running this, that lead there, if that is open, the problem now is pressure. So if he's trying to process this, if he's saying, all right, I got single high, I know I've got Watson on the outside here. Maybe at this point you're not entirely sure what you have in the middle, or take a little too long to diagnose it. If you say, all right, you're taking that, you've got the one blitzer coming through. This guy's still here. He is taking off, but you got to check to confirm that. By the time you check to confirm that, the linebacker's in your lap. And so if he says, all right, I got blitzer coming, I got this linebacker who at the snap, I'm not entirely sure what's going on, or the split second after the snap, because he does kind of hesitate a little at the snap. You can kind of see him in the middle there. He kind of takes that step forward before he follows. All right, I don't have time for this, basically. So then if this guy is not open, what he does know is that if this guy is not open and say this little hesitation, maybe he faded back, I don't have time to hit the second read, because now I'm going to have a linebacker on my lap. I've got the running back is setting up. Where is he? Running back's on this shoulder, this side, and he's check releasing. He's releasing away. Does not look like he's part of the blitz pickup at all. He's looking away. I don't have any pickup for this. If I'm wrong on that lead, if I'm wrong on this linebacker, plays dead. I've got Watson on the outside. I'm going to check the single high safety, and I'm checking to Watson because I have one-on-one chances. Again, I don't hate it. I think it's fine. The one thing I'll say about Watson, and Dax Hill, nice play from center field, taking that away. We'll see when he comes down. There is what's called the red line. I'm going to draw it in yellow because I don't follow rules. A renegade. Dottie. There is right there. You're looking at you want about 5 yards, like 5 yards minimum between the sideline and the receiver. And the reason for that is if it's a deep shot, that gives the quarterback, if the receiver is, say, here, and you're trying to throw the ball, trying to hit him here, I can't see the full screen, but we'll just say that. If you fade it out to here, that gives the receiver a chance to fade underneath it. Right here, there's not a whole lot of room to put that ball. So Watson we'll see him at the line. He does he wins, he pushes to the outside. You can see him, and he uses that speed to get past him. But he's pinned to the sideline a little bit. Ideally, you'd like to see him, out there a little bit. It's, a yard or two. It doesn't seem like that big of a difference. It gives you a bigger target. So that way, especially against single high, because now you have to lead him up the field. And if you're leading him up the field, you give the safety a chance. If instead you're fading him to the sideline at this point, safety doesn't have a chance to get there. So it's a tiny little wide receiver route running thing. Again, I'm not really knocking anyone for it, but you would like to see a little bit more space there. And not a problem with the decision. The ball, like I said, you would like it ideally a little bit, if we're going to nitpick, if you want this to be 100% perfect, a little bit more out in front of him so you can run out in front of him. But ideally you want Watson a little bit further from the sideline running that route, so you can fade that to the sideline. You don't have to be pinpoint perfect with that ball. You can throw it over that outside shoulder and give him a better chance. So ball's slightly underthrown. Dax Hill just with a tremendous play. Tip your hat to that guy. Tremendous play from Hill. And, well, I guess since we're here, we'll watch it from the other angle. Let's see. There we go. All right, we'll just watch it from this angle since we're here. You can see him. He's checking linebacker. He's looking linebacker right there. He's looking down the field. He's confirming the single high safety. Dirt. Go. Check it again. See how and you can see it really well from here. See how that ball, he's reaching here? If the ball's out here, which again, you don't have a ton of space to work with, or the ball's out there, Hill doesn't have a chance. Instead, it's to the inside. Watson has to kind of reach back in for it. So could have been a slightly better throw. Could have been, it's a little bit more away from the sideline, but I don't hate the decision at all. All right, this is now 3rd and 7. So this is the play afterwards. We are going to get this is the one where he just airmails Musgrave. So he's going to throw incomplete right there. Just fires an absolute bullet. I don't know what I'm doing here, apparently. All right, there we go. There he goes. Drop back. Just chucks that sucker to Mars. Falls incomplete. Goes wide. Boo, hiss. Boo, hiss. All right, what are we looking at? We have got a little I've got it labeled up here. I didn't mention this. I've got the down distance gain, and then also the concept, kind of how I have this tagged in my own database here in terms of what this is. You know, a couple different ways with this. I've got this as cross-country dagger, but you've got this middleman, so it's kind of a cross-country dagger / spin. It doesn't matter really much. But what you're doing is you've got this kind of deep crosser. You've got this dig behind it, kind of like we talked about with that concept before, that follow concept. The lead guy, if he's not open, he creates space for the other guy behind him. And then here you've got this little hitch route. So you've got, this is like kind of this little spin concept over here, which we'll talk about probably not again tonight, I guess, but they ran it a couple other times after Love got out. That little concept, that two-man concept there, is what Love ran like 3 or 4 times against the Eagles last year, and did very, very well with it. So it's this kind of combo concept, 3-man route with kind of this big cross. You can call it either spin with a crosser or cross country dagger with a hitch. It doesn't matter. I'm spending too much time on this. It ultimately doesn't matter. But this is what you're doing. You're looking at this guy here, looking at the crosser first. And then what this hook is trying to do, this hook, you're pinning down that dude there. And so he's not really an option unless this guy moves off. So you're going 1 to 2. Basically, you're looking 2. And then if you want, you can go, 3 if that guy moves off. But that's of the core concept. That's kind of what we're doing here. So you've got this single high or this 2 high look, but they're going to spin to single high. You can see it here. What I'm doing, I think he's going to go down and he's going to go back, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so they're going to kind of rotate here. Love kind of sees that rotation happening. And now we've got, he's going to be inside right there. So this is the guy it's going to go to. Musgrave's got inside, but right here, he's backing off. And so you want to hit, you got single high safety, you got inside leverage, everything's looking good. If you want to hit this sucker in rhythm, you got to move that guy out of the way. Otherwise, you just got to wait another beat, hope protection holds up, which we got a guy coming around the outside here, and then hit him wider, which you don't really want to do. It's something that's designed. You want to hit him when he's open, hit him a little in the concept. You don't want to wait a beat if you don't have to. So then the ideally what you have to do, you got to get rid of that guy there. And so Love gets rid of that guy. We'll see it from the end zone angle. Love gets rid of that guy by staring at him, making him not move, and then trying to come back really, really late to Musgrave. I don't know if it's necessarily no look. It's definitely he comes back late to him and looks after he kind of set. So he's set to throw. We'll see from the end zone angle better. He's set to throw this way, and then he ends up throwing over here because it's all about that linebacker. He's trying to, you got to get that linebacker out of the way. So the decision's fine. Decision's fine. I don't know that I have an issue with him trying to keep that guy, hold that guy. I think you could give him, if you're really trying to move him and you think he's not going to do anything. Because this is fun. You can see ball's out of his hand, right? He's fired. We know the ball's coming out there because we've seen this play. That dude's breaking there. So if he's breaking there, you almost wonder, would a pump fake have worked just as well here? I'm not entirely sure. Could he have still come back to it, a little earlier than he did, half a beat earlier, and that linebacker still doesn't have a chance to get back? Potentially. But if we're looking at decision-making process, I have zero issues with the decision to throw to Musgrave on this. It's the right read. That's the right decision. He just misses him. And we'll see it we'll go to kind of this back end zone angle here. So we're looking at Love. We're looking at, it's going to be him right there. No. I think because they're dropping out. So you got this double A gap mug here, and he's going to drop out to kind of take away that throwing lane. That 59 is. So you got Myers checks to here. 59 is going to drop out. You're trying to hit Musgrave, and so you're going to have this big over. You've got him coming over here, and you've got to move 59. So we'll watch him. You see his head, a stripe on his head. So I always tell my daughter when I'm watching this with her, that stripe on his head. He's looking right down that way. Still looking. See the stripe on his helmet? He doesn't come back to it until here. Like I said, he's winding up the throw. He's breaking down because based on where his eyes have been, he's breaking down on him. He's throwing up over here, and he just absolutely misses it. So again, just sails it. If you're trying to do that, maybe, and we saw it a little later, maybe on the touchdown pass, maybe don't throw as hard as you want to throw in this instance. If you have to be that precise, you're not quite looking at it. But again, zero problems whatsoever with the decision here. You watch his feet, back, he's looking to throw, shifts at the last minute. See that shift? Bang, bang. He's set to throw. The way he set the throw there. And then at the last minute, come back, plant that back foot. He kind of bops a little bit. Bop, 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 bounce. Set that back foot, and now he's ready to fire. Helmet's still there. feet are set that way, ball's going over there. I just wish it was complete because this would have looked really, really cool if he did. So again, good decision. Just sails a throw. Something maybe you get better at with experience. Maybe you decide you see what you can and can't do based on what you know you've done in the past. But zero problem with the decision here. This we won't spend a whole lot of time with. It's fun, but it doesn't really do much. I'll just kind of talk about it and then we'll run through it real quick. Little touch pass to Jaden Reed. I'd say he's going to go in front. And we saw this a little later too. You get this kind of crisscross action. And so you could hand that off. They did 2 of these, if I'm not mistaken, this past week. One with Clifford, one with Love, obviously. Both times went to the end around. This certainly seems like something we're going to see during the regular season. You hand that off, you get guys flowing one way or so. This was fun. Not a whole lot to talk about. This is just a called read. He's not doing anything else with it. Just pitch it to Reed. Reed gets the edge. Fun little play. Zero to talk about it in terms of decision making there. But hey, that's fine. Good play. This is going to be a tight end screen, which I've talked about these. I love tight end screens. They seem to get a bad rap, I think. I love them. They just have not gone well at all, as near as I can tell, this year. There have been some good ones in Green Bay in the past. I know DeGuara scored a touchdown on one a couple years ago. Mercedes Lewis was typically the recipient of these. Tunyon had some really nice moments. Any practice clip I've seen has been terrible. I think they ran 2 or 3 tight end screens this week against the Bengals. Terrible. This is one of them. So I hope they get it cleaned up because, man, this would have been a big play if they'd have been able to hit it. And I'm sorry, hit my microphone there. I don't know if this is necessarily on Love or if this is more Musgrave, kind of a clearing the throwing lane type of thing. But we don't need to spend a whole lot of time on it. But I do want to talk about it just because I want to see a tight end screen do well. And again, this isn't really a decision-making thing for the quarterback. I guess that's something to talk about. Of these 10 dropbacks, we just had the touch pass, we had a tight end screen, but they're not really asking him to do anything. This is what you're doing. You've got, the touch passes, you pitch it forward to Jaden Reed. On this one, you're throwing to Musgrave on the tight end screen. Those are your options. The other 8 were all he had to do some kind of read. He had to see what the defense was doing. He had to do all that. So they didn't do any RPOs whatsoever. So there's no decision making there. He didn't have a whole lot of like easy behind the line completions or even attempts. A lot of this was just, okay, read, throw downfield, even if it was quick hitter stuff. But this one here, again, going to be incomplete to Musgrave. We'll watch it. Musgrave's going to kind of block the guy across from him. Block, give up ground, let him go. Love just kind of misses it. So we're going to go to this one here. So we're going to watch Musgrave. I'm not always 100% sure on the specifics of this stuff. I just know how I've seen it in the past and what has worked and what I like and what I don't like. So we'll see Musgrave engage, give up ground. You're purposefully trying to give up ground. So you need to sell this. Oh, no, because you want this guy past you. This guy has to be past you, and then you step out past him, right? Oh, no, you're beating me. Oh, this sucks. Oh, I'm going to give up the block because I'm so bad. And then once you give up on the block, you release. Love sells everything to that way. Comes back. Tries to kind of whip it around this guy. He comes around, sees him. Just not a good idea. Bats that sucker up in the air. Now, there's a couple things. One, for starters, we'll talk about Love. You could, on this, now I think you give up a little something on this because you've got that guy there. So if you want to do like a little lollipop, just up over the top, maybe lead Musgrave out there, have him back up and catch it. You've got him there. So that's a completion. You can get that over the top, but you really have to put some loft on that because this guy at this point is like looking to block that down. But I do think that's an option there. But again, you throw that gives this guy a chance to break. Maybe that doesn't go too well. So as far as what Love could have done, he could have done that. And I think that probably would have been a better option than trying to get around him because even if he gets that around him, that's a tough ask then for Musgrave because you're throwing a bullet kind of to that outside hip there. And that seems like that would have been kind of tough even if that gets complete. The other thing I will mention here, and this will be on Musgrave, just a little nuance thing. He engages, gives up ground, and then he just kind of lets him go. Now, Musgrave, here's what I'll say of what I watched of him in college. I don't really want to get too far down this road if we don't have to. Willing blocker, not necessarily an overly great one. He can do it, but I don't think that's what he's going to be, at least at the beginning at the NFL level. But he can do it. He can put his body in the way. He knows where he's supposed to be. He's a willing blocker. That's all well and good. What you would like to see on this is for the tight end to create a little space. And maybe he's not in the best position. Maybe he doesn't have the strength to do this as far as like using leverage to get there. But what you would like to see, instead of just letting the guy go, chuck him. Use that outside arm, use that right arm there just a little bit. Chuck him back inside a little bit. That way, when you turn out, this guy's over here, you over here. Nice easy throw for Love, and then Musgrave can run ball field. So that's just a tiny little thing. Instead of letting him go, get yourself in a position, just nudge him inside. Just extend that arm a little bit, nudge him inside, create some room. Instead, just gonna let him go. He is now in the throwing lane. Instead of chucking him inside, where he would have been, say, like here, he's now directly in the throwing lane of the only option on this play. So now Love has to make something happen. It's either throw around, throw over the top, or dirt it. Those are your three options. So again, you would have liked to see that a little better from Musgrave. Just not great all the way around. But again, I think if we're talking decision making, there's not really a whole lot to talk about there, just because that's Love's only option. You throw a tight end screen, and this is the heartbreaker right here that will just show you on a tight end screen. Is if imagine a world where this is complete, you've got they're going down, you're creating space, you've got these guys leaking out. You just watch that. So if he catches it here, he catches it right here. You got a blocker. You've got a blocker. They're sealed inside. You've got these guys going up. Now you've got Musgrave with the ball in his hands up the sideline. Could have been beautiful. Could have been so right. And ultimately was not. And that's too bad. That's too bad. But again, a couple things could have gone better there. But fine from Love. Maybe a little lollipop throw as far as getting it there. Maybe experience gets him there. Maybe he still decides to whip it around the guy. And not a quarterback. I don't know. Maybe both plays are fine. It just didn't work in this instance. All right, we're at 3rd and 5. We just want something quick game, man. We want to get back. We want to get the first down here. We want to keep the chains moving. We want to get a touchdown this drive. Let's do this. So it's going to be a complete kind of quick out to Christian Watson. Watson goes in motion. Blah, blah, blah. Sets up. You got those. You got the cornerbacks over there. It's just sitting off. Nice, easy completion. 7 yards on 3rd and 5. They're going to run this little, I've got it as like a 2-man stick look. So you're just kind of doing this here, stick route, just right at the sticks, break, threaten vertically, which you know Watson can do, break to the sideline, and then you're just watching that guy there. You're watching to make sure this guy doesn't jump underneath, and then you're watching this guy here. So that's what Love is reading. He's looking back. All right, we've got this guy stepping up here. We've got this guy backing up. I'm going to set. He's already in the process of doing it. I'm going to set. I'm going to throw. Nice and easy from Love. Again, not a whole lot to do. That is the first read. He's saying, all right, if this happens, if they're in a good position, I'm just throwing this to Watson. You got speed from Watson on the outside to threaten vertically in order to kind of push that DB back. Good read. Good quick throw from Love. I mean, on the whole, he got it out relatively quickly. It was, 10 throws, no sacks. I think PFF had him at a 2.4 time to throw for the game for his 10 snaps, which pretty good. Pretty good. I like that. So got this one here. 2 in a row. Play action boot. Again, core concept. We saw this already from this is going to be complete on the left side here to Dobbs, I guess. Yeah. So again, same concept we saw before. You're going to see this a lot, although the Packers did mix that up a little bit this past year. But it is a concept that is core to their offensive system. So you've got big sail route there, blah, blah. And I think this one, you've got this YY wing set here, so 2 tight ends. This is interesting where instead of sending a guy underneath to release to the flat, Kraft is going to be your flat guy by blocking down and kind of running that slam route to the flat. And you also have this slam sift from Musgrave, who's going to be blocking down, and he kind of works them back inside, that kind of one we talked about. So again, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 on Musgrave. If you're going to look at the reads there, this time again, deep route's not there, and I roll out. Deep route's not there. Crosser's going to be there this time, so that second read is going to be there. Come out. He's reading. Got this big sail route. Corner under, safety over, but you've got Kraft there, linebacker behind. You got Dobbs working. Run with Dobbs. Have him sit in a hole right there. Got Kraft running him. Or it's Kraft running him off. That defender can't get there. Closing in. Hit him in the gap, man. Fire right in the hole. There you go. Really nicely done. Again, this is a core concept from the Packers from a lot of these wide zone, Shanahan, McVay, blah, 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 blah systems, you'll see this a bunch. Packers run this a bunch, not quite as regularly and hasn't been quite as effective over the past couple of years, but this is a play you'll see on Sunday a lot with the Packers. Roll, roll. You can see right there. Kraft runs him off. Really nice view of that. Kraft runs him off. He's coming down. He's not quite there. You've got that window. Set. Fire. Right on the money. There you go, Dobbs. All right, same concept again. This one's not going to go nearly as well. Just be a loss of one on the play in the flat to Watson. This play on the whole is not one I like in the red zone here, just because it has, you need spacing for it to work, right? Because what you're trying to do, you're trying to get Sale, you've got Crosser, I think comes from there. Watson's going to work as the flat from underneath. 1, 2. That's terrible. But you need this guy out here, the outside guy, to run people off. Like the whole point, but not the whole point. You're flooding one side of the field. You're trying to create space. You need space in these levels because you're then booting to levels, right? You've got this. You need someone to take off the top from this side here to create space for those levels to work. So I don't like it in the low red zone. It's something that the Packers have not had success with. It's something that I don't typically like seeing, and this is one of the reasons why. There's just, you don't create as much space in this area of the field on this concept as you other places. I understand to an extent why you do it, because it is you're looking wide zone stuff and you run wide zone, outside zone, whatever in this area of the field, and this works off of that. It's just, to me, spatially, you're limiting yourself with a concept like this down the low red zone. So I don't love it, but they're running it anyway, because apparently they don't care what I think, is my understanding, and they're going to run it. So we go boot out. Very little window anywhere else. That's covered up from Dobbs. You've got Musgrave. You don't really have a window there because you've got this guy in your face. That's one, like, if you wait, he's going to eventually outrun him because he's got the leverage on him. You can't because that guy's right there. So Love falling off a foot, throws to the flat to Watson, who extends, catches, and just immediately taken down. I mean, nothing wrong with the read there. That's exactly what Love is supposed to do. He reads that out well. That's exactly where he's supposed to go based on what he's seeing and the man in his face. I think getting himself in a good position to make that throw, make sure he can complete that around the man in his face, which we'll see from this angle, is commendable. Zero issues with anything here other than the play call itself, which again, I just don't love in this side of the field. So you can see right there, 93 is going to kind of play the run, and there's no one there, and he's just going to stay home. So by the time Love kind of comes around, he boots out, man in his face, throw that sucker, man. He got no time for anything else. No one's open. Throw it. I mean, good catch from Watson, up and away. Good placement from Love. Just a good tackle. So it's not there. There's worse things to do than throw Christian Watson in the flat with a whole full head of steam. Just doesn't work out here. But no problem with the decision. Last play of the day, probably sick of me talking, and I'm sick of the fact that I'm not drinking water, is this kind of high cross thing, which will run touchdown to Dobbs here, deeper, somewhere like that. Probably can't even see the part of the field. So we got this deep cross here. Love with plenty of time. I want to say quiet feet in the pocket. He's got dead feet in the pocket. He's not even moving. There's nothing there. We'll talk about one of the reasons for that in a minute. So you've got a single high safety right there. You're going to run. She will wait until the motion's done so we can talk about this. We've got Watson moving, man coverage, right? You got 20 has followed him across the field. So you start in this stack look. 20 moving across the field, like looking at some type of man coverage. And then so you're going to get inside leverage. You get Watson inside leverage there. You're looking at this inside safety. You got single high safety. What's he doing? Because you're putting him in a bind. Because you got this high cross. So you're going to have this kind of, it's more of a squared route here from Dobbs. So and against single high, it's exactly what you're looking for. Against man coverage, you can get the inside leverage. You win inside, you get the inside leverage. So now you've got your guy on your back hip. He's going to be following his back hip. You can see even kind of shading outside shoulder there. On the back hip. And then you read that safety and you make your decision. What's he going to do? If he follows Christian Watson, which we know he does, that means I've got man-to-man with inside leverage across the field. So you got time to get inside leverage off the line, and then you just build up steam and you hopefully gain separation as you go down the field. if he runs with Dobbs. Same thing with Watson. Now you've got a couple wild cards there in the middle, but that's generally what you're going to be looking at. If this is indeed single high safety, I want inside leverage for my receivers on the outside, and then just depending on, again, it's a little oversimplistic, but depending on which way that guy goes, that's my decision as far as who I'm throwing to. So we're going to watch him, watch Love, play fake, let's step down, but steps back and recovers, doesn't really do much. Now he sits, he's reading. We've got linebacker in the middle. We have got inside leverage here. We've got inside leverage here. And the single high safety has not yet declared, so Love's just going to wait it out. Sit, wait. All right. Now we've declared. They're running that way with Watson. That means Dobbs. And the other thing this can do, and you can see this guy has to kind of ducks under a little bit because you've got this kind of, it's totally legal, but this down the field with these, they cross, you can have a possibility of guys potentially running into each other. As we saw in Green Bay last year, sometimes they run into them themselves. So you got to kind of be a little precise on how you run this, or very precise in terms of how you run this. You've got Dobbs kind of slow playing this a little bit. Looks like maybe he's, acting like he's going to block that guy, seal that guy off for a run fake, but the run fake's already done at this point. So he's kind of slow playing it. Bam, and you can see 24 kind of having a step underneath, and then he just throws it to Dobbs. Again, if you wanted to pick this a little bit, so that throw could have been a little higher into the outside because Dobbs has to stop and make a play on it. But talk about that here in a second. So there's Watson again. He's going inside leverage. See, Love set to throw. Decision has been made. Throw that sucker out. Now you could, again, if you wanted to pick, say, throw that out there. Throw that to a place where Dobbs can go out and get it, where he doesn't have to go up and make a contested catch on it. Could be a better throw, but still makes the catch. That's what Dobbs is pretty good at doing, for as near as what we can tell so far. It's not bad. So we'll see here. In the middle. And the other thing we're going to watch, I said we're going to talk about it. Zach Tom, my man Zach Tom, holding down at right tackle. I said there's dead feet in the pocket from Love. Look at Zach Tom. Man, just leverage. Love just standing there all the time in the world. Try a spin move on Zach Tom. Man, that ain't working. Zach Tom's got that locked up. Tremendous rep from Tom there. So actually pretty good from Kraft too. He's got it right there on the outside. Yeah, Kraft. Not that we're talking about everything here. That guy up. Go, lets him go. Like on the verge of holding. Real close to holding. But he lets him go as he's trying to break away at the end there. And I think that probably saves it. He's got him by the pads. Yeah, that might be holding. Listen, as soon as he gets around, he lets him go. They didn't call a flag. I'm certainly not going to police this. But hey, how about Zach Tom? And the effort of Tucker Kraft, if nothing else. But anyway, single high safety. Go up. He declares. You can see Love looking right down the barrel at him. Straight right down the middle. All right, he declares. Throwing this to Dobbs. And again, could be a little bit better out on the outside shoulder. I mean, that's good coverage from 24 that stays with him across the field. Kind of has him right there. Slow playing it. Breaks away at the top of the route. 24 stays with him. Again, you can nitpick that a little. You can say that throw should have been better and probably should have been. But he gets it where it needs to be. Ends up being a touchdown. You'd like to see that just a little bit further out. So overall, where are we at? Well, I think Love did well for the most part. I think every read was good. I don't have a problem with any of his reads. Again, a couple issues with some of the throws that Watson won, but some of that I think could potentially be on Watson, just the space he didn't give him there. That Dobbs throw that we just looked at is one that maybe you like to see cleaned up a little bit, placed a little bit further. The Musgrave incompletion is one that he does the right thing by holding him, and he makes the right read by throwing it to him. He just misses it. He tries to hold him a little too long, tries to get maybe a little too cute with it. Maybe not. I say too cute like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. You need to hold that linebacker. He's trying to do work on that linebacker. It just didn't work out for him. So he had that misfire. But for the most part, again, if you're looking just based on, it was 10 dropbacks, 8 of which involve some kind of read. So that's not counting the tight end screen and the touch pass. And I don't see a place where he made a bad read on any of them. Again, you could say potentially that Christian Watson one is not even a bad read. That's just you had that dig thing in the middle, but we talked about the reason why he didn't do that, and the reason why I think it's totally fine he didn't do that. Sometimes you want to take a one-on-one shot to your speedster. If you get that opportunity, you want to do that away from the single high safety. Just the execution could have been a little better on both sides of that. So overall, again, 10 plays, 10 throws, no sacks, got the ball out in 2.4 seconds. I think his ADOT was 9 yards per attempt, which is pretty good. You'd like to see, if he hits on that Watson one, this is where some of this is skewed. If he hits on that Watson pass, not skewed because it's what the numbers are. The numbers do say what he did. If he hits on that Watson pass, his yards per attempt, which I think were 4.7 yards per attempt, I think it was 47 yards on 10 attempts, that gets a big bump. You get a big bump from there. If he hits Musgrave on that open one, he gets a bump from that. He didn't, and so that 4.7 yards per attempt is a little low. And there's things he will need to do to clean that up a little bit. And but I think if you're just looking at the reads, if you're looking at the progressions, the concepts, what the concept is asking versus what the coverage was giving, I think it's hard to find fault in how he operated between the ears. I guess you can say a couple things about some of those throws, but how he operated between the ears, how he read the defense, how he progressed, how he read out the concepts, what his decisions were. I think the decision making was fine. So this has been way too long. Hope a couple of you stuck with me, I guess. But thank you for watching, I guess. I hope you all enjoyed this. I probably have some more this week on, I don't know, other things, I guess. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments, I guess. But thank you again for listening and or watching, I guess. And I will talk to you next time.